Hello and welcome to the Special Moves podcast. My name is Mike Williams and these guys are Jake Klukowski and Liam McKelvey.
Hello.
Hiya.
How you doing? You alright?
Yeah, not bad, thanks.
Yeah. Doing well, thank you.
Got 3 of these to record today. Long story. We've got a bonus Patreon podcast. We promise coming tomorrow. To everyone who is eagerly awaiting the bonus podcast.
It sounds more like
week.
a lie every time we talk about it because we were talking about how good it was and now it's just disappeared.
Genuinely, it was some Tenacious D level. Like it was one of our favourite podcasts.
This is just a tribute.
And it's one of the favourite podcasts ever. Like in the
Yeah.
God, over 100 podcasts I've recorded.
Since Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant sat down to
like the 100 podcasts we've been a part of, it was like in the top 5.
Yeah.
Oh well, we'll have to do better. But we got 3 in a row today, so look, don't think
I'm
we're
sure
wearing
the quality
same outfit
will
for like 2 weeks.
So I got glasses and I got a sort of distinctive t-shirt
And
on.
as
Jake's
usual,
got a green jacket.
If you listen
Liam's
to the
got a
audio
hoodie.
version, this doesn't mean anything. I feel like I doff the champion out every time. But
What if you're listening? It doesn't matter.
yeah, it's
But
like
that's the thing. Like they ask for us to film it. Like
Yeah.
so specifically, I feel like we've got to make a big deal out of it.
and that's what I mean. Like I feel like because they ask, right? The ones that don't ask, the ones that are fine listening in the car.
You.
I always want to give them a little shout out, like thanks for not being fussy little bastards.
Yeah.
Thanks for being happy with just our oral pleasure.
The rest of you watching, Jake's just called you fussy little bastards. So enjoy that.
So I'm just projecting that we're doing 3 in a row, but it's going to be good. We've got quite a lot to talk about because despite gaming being quite quiet the past 2 weeks, I think we'd all agree, unless you're having a cry about fucking mobile games, it's been quite quiet. No big releases. No big releases, like AAA wise. And everyone's talking about films because, like, Avengers and Star Wars and shit.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, that's so weird. I just had an IMDb trailer pop up on my phone, exactly as you said, Star Wars trailer.
Yeah.
That's very weird. That's what it was. It was for the Fallen Order trailer. But anyway, so we'll be talking about that. Actually, we'll probably be talking about that sort of stuff in the bonus podcast. So if you're in any way interested in films, what are coming out soon, we'll probably be chatting about that in the bonus pod.
Which is for the patrons.
For the patrons, yeah.
$1 a month or more. Like, there's no, like, big... like sort of
just a little thank you for anyone who supports us on Patreon.
Yeah, for everybody.
So let's talk about the actual game, the Star Wars game that we're
getting this year.
Yeah, which is very unique in the sense that it is the first sort of single player focused, story driven Star Wars game that puts a lightsaber in your hand, and that's all these. This is all the things that EA Respawn have been sort of saying, because that's what they have not. This is exactly what they have failed to do so far, because the EA offering in terms of Star Wars games, they've had this like license for a 10-year license with Disney to exclusively make Star Wars games, and they've done fuck all with it.
Well, we have Battlefront 2, and that's it.
Yeah,
well,
the classics of a generation.
Yeah, a bunch of mobile games as well that no one remembers.
Yeah, the mobile offerings are just... I think there's a couple that I've actually picked up. I can't even remember what they are or anything like that, but they're basically just like money spinners. Like, there's not... If you're getting a distraction sort of fix out of it, cool, but... I can't... They're hardly like memorable experiences sort of thing. So this is what they're trying to do with this, and this has got that sort of heavy single player, PlayStation exclusive, almost sort of polished pitch thing that they're going for it. So at the Star Wars Celebration, which is like an annual festival of Star Wars, where there's a lot of Star Wars news actually. Like that's where the film trailer drops and stuff like that. And they did it's like a panel, I guess, with
that's what they called it, a panel, right?
Yeah.
Although it was just a big announcement with some chairs.
Man, yeah. I'm a bigger Star Wars fan going, but I was.
You had no time for that, did you?
I had no time. No, I was pretty. I saw the trailer and then I was like, God, and I was sort of anxiously awaiting the trailer, but they spent 5 minutes having a chat and introducing the producers and stuff first.
Yeah.
Before,
they made a deal of it in the event, and like as somebody that watched the Stadia and the Borderlands one, the fact that they didn't wait till the very end to show it was a nice surprise. But you who hasn't been as adjusted to this sort of
panel experience,
you're like they spent 5 minutes.
That sounds horrendous.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just like it was just a bit weird. Because normally they always end on a trailer. And the fact that the game's out in November, which is one thing that I guess kind of got leaked like a couple of hours before by like Amazon in Italy, and also some like pin badge of one of the new robots. I thought that they were showing that, then they were having a little bit more of a chat, they brought the actor out or whatever, and then I thought that they were going to end on the gameplay trailer. If the game's only like 7 months out, it surely will be in a state where they're going to show you some gameplay. And I mean,
But
you know,
it was very much just an announcement trailer that we got
Yeah.
at first, wasn't it?
with
And
like a
that's all-
20-minute post-show panel.
Yeah, so you got a good sense of the setting, story, characters,
Setting the scene, really.
Yeah, and so there wasn't, in terms of gameplay, it was just sort of what, just what they were saying basically in that panel.
Yeah. It
Some
was
little
like
hints
watching
that-
one of those like trailer analysis videos or a trailer reaction
Yeah.
video. Even with like that mixed with a bit of director's commentary.
Yeah,
Like it was.
except people were under heavy NDAs, so they couldn't really say anything.
Yeah, so like the
they-
host was like, "I've got so many questions. What were those guys called?" And it's like, "Well, this is the Purge Trooper. Do you want to see a Purge Trooper?" And the crowds were going mad, so they brought out some guys or girls cosplaying as a Purge Trooper. Don't know, you know what I mean? That's it. Like, and then they went back in. I thought like we were gonna see like the game in action.
Yeah.
And then it was like, and then they kept doing that though. Like it was such a fucking good time, I'm sure, for everyone there, because they were like, "And before we go, we've got one last thing, okay?" And I was like, "Yes, it's worth texting Mike saying, Mike, put the stream back on." But no, it was like two of you lucky people in the audience will win an Xbox One, a water bottle, and a 1 month trial of Xbox Gold.
Whoa,
I
and a
was like-
backpack.
Oh,
Don't
sorry.
forget the backpack.
Yeah, there was a backpack actually, and actually
that
it looked
Xbox
pretty
in.
sick. And then as a little surprise, everybody who attended in person got 1 month free trial of Xbox Live Gold.
Yeah.
And
Poster?
a poster and a badge.
Yeah, and that little badge set.
No,
So what did we
again,
get?
no doubt very exciting for the audience members,
Yeah.
specifically the audience members who are there, not the ones who are
Yeah.
watching this live
23,000
stream.
people that I was watching it with on
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah, exactly. So the game specifics, what we've got so far is that it's a single player, story-driven thing. They've been doing this marketing line of saying no microtransactions, no loot boxes, no, because they know that
Yeah.
which is sort of a bit boring for me, because it's like, just tell me about the lightsabers. How does the game, the gameplay work?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it like Sekiro? Please,
Yeah,
fucking,
yeah.
is it like Sekiro? But it's they're going on the business model stuff, because obviously Battlefront 2 was their last big AAA thing,
Yeah.
which was a disaster at launch, and
Even before
an
launch.
an industry-changing disaster. So they have to obviously lean on that, and it makes sense to do that. But that, so there's no microtransactions, no loot boxes, single player. It's out on November the 15th on PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Which is a month before the film. So,
Perfect timing
They
for
always
that.
have to have a game before the big episode.
Yeah.
And the setting, so let's talk about what we actually did learn in terms of story and stuff then. So it's sort of set between as it feels like most like expanded universe Star Wars things are, it's set between the prequels and the original trilogy.
After episode 3, before episode 4.
Yeah, and the premise is that you're sort of like on the run, and that you're trying to hide from the space Gestapo, because you're a Jedi and you're not allowed to exist anymore. So you're sort of you're under pressure, under duress. You're not like in the glory. It's not like the Knights of the Old Republic, where there's a council and things are sort of healthy.
Yeah.
This is you're very much the last of your kind, sort of thing. So what did you guys think of what we learned? Like, did you think that sounds like a good setting for this sort of game, or can you see like this being a good focus for a story?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's been done before, though, really.
Yeah.
Even in Star Wars games, like you think Jedi Knight, that was about like the last, a Jedi on the run, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
So what's that other thing? Oh yeah, The Last Jedi. Yeah.
The Last Jedi, which wasn't about.
What's
the
that
Last
about?
Jedi.
Yeah, it's just I
Jedis are always the last, or they're returning.
they're doing it first.
Yeah.
They're the Alpha or the Omega, right? I don't actually know that much about Star Wars. Like sometimes I have to like reference check like gifts that I send to these guys, so I don't know. But so for me, that's interesting because I've got a completely unbiased point of view. So
Yeah, so unbiased, and so these gifts that you're talking about, you sent me Return of the Jedi gif,
Instead of a
thinking it was a
cantina
scene
band.
from the cantina in episode 4, which
what
is
a
It was actually
blunder!
probably the
Palace.
most
Yeah, I
it's
can't believe you've nerd shamed me like
probably
that.
the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen
Yeah.
on WhatsApp. But anyway,
If anyone wants to join my support group, we can all talk about other things like Lord of the Rings. But yeah, so I've got sort of that feeling of the fact that the tagline was "Don't stand out." What's that about?
more interesting in the movie tagline though, which is a diabolical sort of
What's that?
every generation
legend
has its
has a
legend or
legend.
something like that,
Oh, dear.
which is like the most. If you were just to invent a cinema, like when you do those like pretend sort of in a world trailers in your head,
every generation
has a legend.
Yeah,
it's one of them. Yeah, that's the movie one.
I don't like these kind of weird sci-fi plots of. I mean, it happens in other genres as well, but I always find it in sci-fi like where someone with powers is persecuted and treated like a freak, and they've got to hide their powers.
Yeah, superheroes and shit like that.
Yeah,
It always happens.
it's a bit annoying. I don't like to see suppressed power. I like to see raw power. So the fact that it's going to be a lot of that, and it'll be like hiding from on a train from like these purge troopers, and then slowly unleashing your power and becoming a very valuable asset to the resistance.
Yeah.
But to me, I don't know. Doesn't matter what I think about the story, because I think what it matters about is if whether the game's going to play well or not.
Well, okay, so that's what I was actually going to ask next. What do you think that means for the gameplay? Because to me, when they talk about this, when you talk about a Star Wars game where you play a Jedi, which is set between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy, you think of Force Unleashed, because that's exactly what that was.
Right.
But in that, you're like, I think they said you're like a Force wrecking ball, so you're very high profile.
I mean, it's called Force Unleashed.
Exactly. So you're just,
And you were a bad guy.
and you're a bad guy, and you were just like fucking everyone's shit up, right? It doesn't matter who it was, if it was stormtroopers or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You just went in there and you were like chaos, right?
Yeah,
But
this
this
is it.
is like you've got to be more low profile. I'm assuming then there's got to be some stealth in here. There's got to
Yes, and that's again like. Can I ask you guys a question as Star Wars fans? Yeah, big ones.
be all right.
It seems that like. I don't know. As somebody who doesn't really know much about it, Star Wars has got like a couple of things going for it, yeah? And it's got these spaceship battles, it's got lightsabers, and it's got these people who are like, basically superheroes against supervillains. And then there's all these different races and that, but they all seem pretty vanilla, like Gungans are pretty shit and whatever, right? But it seems like all the games of like big companies saying like, we want to embed people in the universe, but why don't we just make them an engineer or a starship pilot or whatever? Like, surely just go straight for the fucking lightsabers every time.
Well,
is it boring if it did that?
I think it's because that's what you had in the 90s and the early 2000s. You had
Right.
all the Jedi Knight sort of games. You had Knights of the Old Republic. Where, like Knights of the Old Republic, you could have, you went down a route of like where you could start off like using big guns and shit.
stuff.
But
Yeah,
you were a Jedi, like or a Sith or whatever. If you want, you could sort of choose your light and
You
dark.
had powers in it. You had,
You had powers.
In
Yeah.
like the Jedi Knight games, you sort of like built up to being a Jedi
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Because you started that in Jedi Outcast, you start out just with like guns and stuff.
Yeah.
And then about the midpoint of the game, you get a lightsaber.
Yeah.
this is what I think.
But there was a lot of
Yeah.
games that were scratching that itch. Like you were
Yeah.
getting. There was a lot of games that just gave you a lightsaber. A lot of games where you're specifically playing as like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn or Luke Skywalker or whatever. So I think maybe it's sort of like the World War II game sort of thing. Like I think in executives' heads, people are sick of World War II games, but then you get COD World War II and then that sells really well, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's like that effect because there was so many of that sort of thing early on.
Yeah, you're totally right. I think as well, like the idea of like Padawan or whatever becoming a Jedi Master is like this route to progression that is so embedded, like it will naturally lend itself well to like an RPG mechanic in a game. So like Knights of the Old Republic, you've got that really cool system of literally a skill tree with the different Force abilities. If you're a Padawan and you're under like this sort of oppressive sort of regime and you don't have a lightsaber at hand, because why the fuck would you? Because they're going to search you. I can see this game being like more about the use of the Force powers, and then towards the end you have this bit where you'll get the lightsaber, and maybe you'll be using guns. But they did say at this panel directly that they wanted the game to focus on action-oriented melee combat, and the fact the use of the word melee there is important, because obviously you'd imagine blasters and all these other like civilian kind of weapons in it won't take that much of the spotlight if they're saying that the game's focused on melee. Like
they've got to give you. It should be like Kratos' axe sort of thing to me.
Yeah.
I think you should get a lightsaber and you should be able to, maybe if you want
Throw it
to
and it comes
upgrade
back.
it and
Unless
tinker
they
with it
go
and
with
stuff.
Knights of the Old Republic route where you can use melee weapons but not a lightsaber until a certain point in the game. You had the vibro blades.
That
and
would be
everything
a
in-
shame, I think, if they did that.
Well, like,
but,
raised staff and shit like that.
yeah,
stuff like that. Like,
because there's
You
like
start
that.
out with that. And then eventually at a story beat you find a lightsaber.
Yeah. But there's also there are like to begin with it was a very simple idea, like lightsaber cuts through anything, and then as the years have gone on it's like except for this weapon and except for this weapon and except for this weapon, like in the Force Awakens, there's that like stormtrooper, right, who's got like the fucking
like the electric
rod
button.
thing.
Traitor.
Yeah.
Oh, him. Yeah.
I mean, fine, but thematically, I think it fits in well with the new batch of films as well, because there's a lot of like, in Solo and in Rogue One, there's a lot of like, dark alleys and trying to get through customs and shit like this, and there's a lot of that sort of stuff going on in the films at the moment. So it sort of makes sense for them to try to, dive in on that as well. What do you hope the combat is going to be like? Because I really hope that, I really want it to basically be Sekiro, but with lightsabers.
I'm hoping like God of War style, yeah, like that close behind over the shoulder camera view. Like you said, Kratos has got his axe throw, just still have a lightsaber.
Yeah,
I just want that style of combat.
It's probably if they want to. The thing with Respawn is they're a fucking good studio, and they know how to make stuff work really, like in first-person shooter terms.
Yeah.
I've not played a bad one that they've made, to be honest, and they just make it feel great to play. So I've every faith that they'll be able to do that with melee combat as well. Yeah, exactly, third-person sort of action. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what route they go down, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just did something that we unfamiliar. Maybe they won't necessarily do anything like we already know.
One thing I did see that you can't help but, I don't know, put next to Titanfall, even if you've not played it, is that there was a bit of war running in the trailer.
Yeah, there was, yeah.
So, the trailer was made in Unity, so I don't know if the full game is being made in Unity, but I'm assuming if the trailer's been rendered in Unity, then the assets have been made in Unity, which means it would make sense for the game to be made in Unity. But
they've confirmed it's Unreal 4. Like an EA community manager
that's
on
weird.
The Star Wars subreddit said can confirm.
That's interesting because these guys have been working on a completely different engine for the past two big games that they made. Titanfall, Titanfall 2, and Apex Legends are all Source. So working in a different engine might bring new challenges to them, but they might. From what I know, Source is quite an old game engine, so it's quite limited. Whereas Unreal gets a lot of props. Most people would be thinking Unreal, oh man, it's going to be on the Epic Store, but it's a pretty big cert that it's going to be in the Origin Store, right?
Oh, yeah, Origin only this week.
So, I'm interested to see what they do inside the new engine as well, because if the team can make Source play as good as Apex Legends, then God knows what they can do with this. I think the combat is probably going to be more God of War style like that, but I hope they don't have it on face buttons. I hope it's like...
There was an interview that said that it's going to be Dark Souls-like combat, but that means... But my question...
That probably just means the R1, R2.
Exactly. Yeah. And also, does that mean, I don't for 1 minute think it's going to be as sort of unforgiving as a From Software game. But
no, they made that clear. They did say that they want the game to be playable by people of all skill levels, which was a very PR-fed line because of the From Software discussion recently.
Well, yeah.
They did kind of make a point of that, like accessibility is our friend with it. So.
Yeah. So, but
probably a heavy reliance on dodging and stuff like that. Maybe
they said they wanted it to be you have enemies, but you use all your powers to take them down as well. So it's not just just hammer the lightsaber or whatever. You have to use your force powers in conjunction with everything else you've got, which is a bit God of War-ish, where you have to use the axe throw, your shield bash.
To be fair though, they all sort of there are only so many ways you can swing a weapon, so there's going to be similarities with a lot of games probably. In terms of scope and stuff, this is one thing that we had a chat about as well. God of War is one way of doing it, where you've got one sort of continuous world where there's portals and stuff, but in most part you can clearly see there's all in one cut, isn't it? There's no cuts in God of War. But then I sort of feel like if to make this sort of story work, it'll be a little bit like that probably in terms of cinematic presentation. It'll be in terms of camera position and stuff, but then it'll be a bit more like Uncharted or something, where you've got various big locations that you'll be loading screened into
style adventure,
and they'll be blasting off to other places and stuff, because some of the films, I can't remember which one, I think it is Rogue One, but it just feels a little bit a bit too globe hopping sort of thing. You're
there's a lot of different planets, isn't there?
And there's every 2 minutes it says there's a lower third telling you what planet this is, and you're
a circular wipe.
And it's difficult to sort of care about the locations so much when you're sort of going from one to the other. But there will be, there's got to be some of that in it, right? Because it's a Star Wars game, so and probably there's going to be a level on a spaceship, and there's going to be a level.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I wonder if they're going to have a dogfighty bit in there. I don't know if they.
Oh, in like flying spaceship, yeah, possibly.
Because that's one thing. Like if they do that, why don't they just try the No Man's Sky approach of some interplanetary stuff? But then it seems that's what I mean. That's what people would love, right? But
then you lose out on the story bit, I guess.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough.
Yeah, one thing you know for sure with Respawn and with Titanfall 2 is like they're
Titanfall 2 is a bit globe-trotting as well.
Yeah,
almost.
But also sort of lean, and it's like it's very linear. And it's just it's a quite traditional way of making a video game story, I guess. So that's sort of what I'm expecting, really. And then
I think like comparing it to the Uncharted style structure is a good shout.
Yeah, I think that's the most likely for me anyway. The most likely way I think that I can see it working. But all in all, yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, or gameplay at least.
Yeah, when do you reckon we'll see gameplay?
E3 Microsoft stage, I reckon. Seeing as how big they were about being like Xbox Live giveaway, Xbox giveaway, all that. Yeah, I think it'll be a Microsoft. Maybe even an opener. I don't know.
It would be a strong one. It would be a strong one. But it is multi-platform. But, this is just in terms of like branding and marketing.
EA aren't doing E3, right, either, so that kind of pushes them off.
Yeah, EA's not doing their thing. Sony's not doing their thing.
So Microsoft...
Their conferences at E3, you mean?
Yeah, conferences. EA aren't there at all, so... I mean, I know when they are there, they're
Who's left now, though?
Well, Bethesda.
Ubisoft and Bethesda.
And Google have said that they're having one as well, right?
PC Gamers still have their showcase.
Yeah, so I think Google's one's going to be quite big, probably, because the guy said on stage, didn't he, that he wanted to finally show off the games at E3 because it's coming out in August or not August. So what's the other word? Autumn. For bloody I was so conscious about accidentally saying fall like how he did there. God, I wouldn't live it down. But yeah, E3 is going to be weird because EA might replace their presentation at E3 with like the State of Play or Nintendo Direct stuff. And if so, we might see it there. But I think Liam's probably right. It's going to be Microsoft. Yeah.
Well, mentioning Google there, that's a great place to move the conversation on. We've had an email in to our dearspecialmoves@gmail.com email account. If you want to email us anything, send it into that. We'll have a read it out on the podcast and have a chat about it. Gaz McLeavy has emailed in saying this. Dear Special Moves, I was listening to your podcast when you were talking about streaming games. Now he's talking streaming in the sense of sort of Stadia.
Like Stadia,
so not watching stuff on Twitch, but streaming the game to your system and playing it like that.
Uh-huh.
I understand that it's the way the industry is going, but I am dead against it. I don't like the way all gamers are being forced to play online, as in multiplayer games, just because some people, I'm guessing casuals, want to pirate their games instead of buying them. I understand there fears of a few slightly lower profit margins, but it just feels like I'm being punished for something I haven't done. I don't think anyone prefers playing unfinished games, but that is just the way the industry is going. I understand it's a huge topic that you have already discussed at length. I just wanted to share my opinion. I love listening to your voices every week, often while I'm on my tri-weekly exercise walking around a local wood in Bristol. It's my birthday on Tuesday. The older I get, the weirder it feels playing Fortnite. Keep up the good work, Gaz. Thanks, Gaz, for your furious email.
That's nice that he didn't even ask us a question. He didn't care.
No,
he just wanted to tell us, and that's what it's
doing exactly what we want him to do.
He plays right to our hands.
So Gaz is not into the idea of streaming stuff and raising some questions there about the motivations behind doing it. I think there are like good intentions. Like for developers, it means that they. There's no limitations. The limitations are different because the limitations are then it just varies per user in a way the developer doesn't have to worry about because they can make the game as complex and big and whatever as they want because the limitation then only comes in like the quality and the frame rate that the user gets at the end. So and that's based on their internet speed. So it doesn't really, they don't have to go, what if they've got this PC or this PC or this PC or this PC? What if they've got a PS4 or a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One or Xbox One X? They don't have to tailor for all this different stuff. They can make the game as powerful, as big and power hungry as they want.
The only question is, do they have like the internet? That's for it, isn't it? But still, that's a binary.
Exactly.
They do or they don't.
Yeah.
It's not they do, but their graphics card's going to need updating in a year.
And they can they'll still maybe be able to play the game at a lower resolution or something. So the limitation for the developer, like they don't have to worry about it. They just they know that if they can make the game under the hood as complicated and as graphically glorious as they want. It's just that the actual resolution of the picture that they'll get on the end, and maybe the sound quality and stuff, and it's the limit is on the data they're coming into the, which is a different thing to worry about, and something that they can just make the game as complicated as they want, and then it's up to the user then to make sure that they've got the data to see as much of that as they can. So I think there are benefits to it. I don't think it is all sort of because of the business models and stuff, and I think there definitely will still be a place for downloading and keeping the thing local, like 100%. They'll definitely be that, because there's so many people will want it.
Developers won't want to, sort of like indie devs won't all want to jump into bed with Google.
Exactly.
They'll want more rights to their property, because obviously that's another thing. Google own a specific amount of rights to share your IP how they want. But like, if you're an indie developer, you probably want to be completely in control of your baby that you've just created and want to give to the world. And it's kind of like, then they'll know that there's always a little bit of like a resistance against the streaming. So it's almost like the cool thing to do. So like, there'll always be a market for it. It'll never die out, I don't think.
No, not a chance. I don't think. It's totally safe, I think, to expect that you'll still be able to play games. People still buy Blu-rays. People still buy DVDs. People, old formats will still live on, because as long as people keep buying them.
Yeah.
And I think that, he's not alone here in sort of being worried about that, because loads of people say this sort of thing, I think, and they want to not have to stream everything in the future. It's not feasible for me anyway. I can't. I'll be downloading stuff. I won't be able to stream for a while yet. So there we go. So let's talk about another little thing that's happened this week, which is Twitch Sings, which is a karaoke.
The natural successor to SingStar.
Yeah, it's
it truly is, man.
It's what, Jake? What is it, mate?
Well, it's quite interesting actually. So you know Twitch, YouTube.
Oh, they do it.
The two biggest platforms for like gaming, I guess. But Twitch, not sort of content with just being regular old streaming thing. They're always doing these things, giving games away. They've got Twitch Prime and all. But yeah, they've got like their own version of karaoke basically that you can do at home, live to an audience, and it's gamified it in a sense that you've got to like get the right pitch, like SingStar. It's actually been made by Harmonix in conjunction with Twitch, who made Rock Band people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, about 6 months ago, they announced that it's going to be in like beta for select partners, and it's that was at TwitchCon in America. TwitchCon Europe is, at the time of recording, ongoing, but I guess by the time you listen to this, it was over this past weekend. And they announced that it's out right now, and it's basically a free game. Like, it is a game at the end of the day, and I can't sing at all. I'm tone deaf. But if I did sing, I'd love this. I liked Guitar Hero. I did like it.
Yeah.
Imagine if Guitar Hero was just free for everybody. If you just want Twitch, that'd be good, wouldn't it? But imagine instead of the Guitar Hero guitar, the instrument is your throat or voice. Voice sounds a little bit less.
Well, that's the marketing catchline, sort of, isn't it?
Yeah,
the instrument is your throat. Twitch Sings.
Yeah.
Coming
Himalayan
soon.
throat singing. Start a ritual. But I like the idea of it. Basically, like there'll be people out there who are singers and stuff, because it's not just game people that play games on Twitch, but the fact that they've gamified it, and it's always on front page. I must spend about 30 hours a week on Twitch, and I see it quite a lot popping up. But it's got 1,000 songs in the library, obviously all properly done. It's got like music video kind of stuff in it. It's got the words coming up, and it's just interesting to see. I guess technically it's a video game. Twitch are getting into video games, and they've given us one to everybody for free,
which is distributed in a interesting way, I guess. Like
and I do find it really interesting. It's nothing I would ever do. I would never ever do it. To the point where like I think a nightmare of mine consistently has been being forced to do karaoke, like legitimately.
Right. Okay.
This isn't therapy for me, so it doesn't matter. But what do you reckon of this? Like I'm saying, the idea of I'm thinking of if it was Guitar Hero, if I said, Glads, they've just put out Guitar Hero for free, a new one. Yeah. They give you a free guitar, and there's 1,000 songs on it. What would you say? You'd be like, well, shit.
Well, shit.
What do you think of it?
I'm the same as you, I think. Like, there's no chance I'm going to be doing this. But
no.
I guess if you're into it, very, very cool.
I've done karaoke once, and I was very drunk, and did it with 3 friends. And it was in a room with people I knew.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do it to an audience of potentially hundreds.
I guess I'm trying to figure out who is doing this.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I know. I completely get
people who have no shame,
or talent, or people who have got talent, and I don't need to feel shame because they're
who
sick.
are they though? Like, how old are they? And like, what is the demographics of this thing?
Now, I'll be completely honest. There's only 3 people I've seen actually doing it. 2 of them were girls. And one of them was this guy who was doing something very, very interesting with Twitch things. And he was I think actually Kotaku had written an article about him recently. So I don't know if you guys have seen, like, it's been really, like, in vogue at the moment, the fucking Grand Theft Auto roleplay servers.
Right, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there's one, No Pixel, I think it's called. And there was a guy who didn't, like, no one really knew he had a good singing voice. And he held a concert in GTA online on Twitch with Twitch Sings.
That's cool.
And the fans in his channel were requesting songs and he was taking requests. And he does this rendition of Hallelujah and he's going for it. And it's what's so funny, it's like hardly anyone's in the bar because obviously it's a roleplay server, there's like no NPCs, it's just regular. And then these 2 guys role-playing drunks just kind of come in and they're like, this guy fucking sucks. Eventually the concert does kind of fill out a little bit more and there's some quite big people that were there and like I think that's what made it sort of the news story is quite a lot of these streamers were all taking over Twitch's front page because this guy was just doing this, like he had a guitar and he was doing Hallelujah with Twitch Sings and that's when I was like damn. So I looked into it and then I didn't know it was like a surprise launch, but I think it's I suppose for Twitch as well, for the I don't know, like it's a good way of getting subs in it. Like if you take requests and you're nailing fucking cover versions,
it's good for viewer engagement as well.
Exactly. Yeah. If you can smash Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne for a donation, fucking get it done.
It's just I think the more ways you can get things you can give people to do things. This is just another way of having a bit of fun in it, and it'll just sort of probably just fade into the background a little bit, maybe after a few months, and it'll be there, and people will still use it, and people will still have
exactly.
And it's just like another tool that they've got on Twitch now, which is becoming more of like a platform to just not, to begin with, as with everything, it's a simple core concept. You just watch people playing games or whatever, but then it evolves over time too.
I spend all my time on Twitch, and I don't spend any time on YouTube watching videos, hardly anything. Like there's podcasts that I watch that are on Twitch live every morning. Like, do you know what I mean? There's stuff like that. You can just find pretty much everything on there. And the fact that it's Amazon now, like, is probably something to do with it. But I think it's a very clever concept, and like, I don't know. Let's see what they do with that, because this is something very simple, because everybody's got this instrument that you need for Twitch Sings. But I wonder what they're going to do next, like, because the fact that it's integrated onto the Twitch website as well, and that's all run through Stream. It's quite interesting. So I don't know, I just thought it'd be worth bringing up, just because even though we're not them, there'll be people out there who are interested in singing. Yeah, and I might find it interesting.
Got a PSA in it, just in case you're into a bit of singing and you didn't know about it. Get on there.
And also, like, how have they got like the license for 1,000 songs? Yeah, they got like AC/DC. They got like every single song by the Beatles ever. Like, I think it took iTunes something like, was it 16 years to fight the rights to get Beatles songs on iTunes? And can you remember one of the Apple keynotes? Steve Jobs was still alive, so I don't know what year that puts it. But it was like, we're pleased to announce
the Beatles,
everybody. Yeah. Maybe it was the same year that they put that U2 album on everyone's phone.
Because they've got Amazon Music, haven't they, as well? Maybe it's something to do with that.
Yeah.
I think they've got about, so when you pay for the Spotify equivalent on Amazon, they've got like 10 million songs or something on there, so there must be some.
It must be a shared,
some sharing going on.
But then how are Harmonix developing this? Do they have to manually put the notes in for each song, or is it an algorithm? This is when I'm getting confused.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You see, because they're developing it. So what happens? Like, I noticed, I was looking at the song list. Bauer's trap anthem "Harlem Shake" is on there, and the lyrics are a sample of a man saying, like, "Do the Harlem Shake." That's it. There's no other vocals. Why is that on there?
I'll sing that one. I feel like I could do that one.
Do the Harlem Shake.
All right, let's do another email then. Who's this one from? This one's from Liv Edwards. Liv Edwards says, "Dear Special Moves, I loved the first Divinity Original Sin and couldn't wait to start the second one. So when finally starting out, I was super excited. It was a must to get the Pet Pal perk. Now that's a perk in Divinity Original Sin 2, which allows you to speak to the animals, who've actually got an awful lot to say. Because I think it was an awesome perk to have during the first game, but almost every animal is super depressing. Here are some examples. Now these are, Liv has laid out some in-game examples of storylines, I guess, that happen to the
Very
pet
concise.
to a lot of the animals. Some of these lines are amazing. Here we go. Pretty much at the start of the game, the dog on the ship is in severe pain. You can either spare him by killing him or leave him to die more painfully. That's depressing story number 1. Number 2, dog named Buddy lost his soulmate who was turned into a source hunter and you can't do anything. Here's another one. Little bear cub looking for his mum who is dead, and this little guy is unable to look after himself, which means he will probably die. Here's another one. To gain a source point, you need to kill all animals. Here's another one. Cursed pigs on fire who ask you to kill them to end the torture.
That's my post-rock band.
So was it so hard for the writers to write one happy ending when it comes to the animals in this game? So thanks, Liv, for the animal welfare concern email about what happens to the animals in Divinity Original Sin 2. They are right there, though. I mean, it's...
Yeah, I mean, you can't dispute that. I mean, there's that one bit with the source hunter dog. I think there is something you can do in it, but I don't want to spoil it in case you want to go and replay it. But yeah, life is pain, isn't it?
Well, it's certainly in Divinity Original Sin 2 it is. Yeah, I mean, so you can speak to obviously basically everything in the game. Every like NPC and stuff has got something to say. Some of them got complex storylines. Some of them they just have a little chat but there is a pattern there. There's one there that I didn't read out because it's
so it's an act 2 of the game, which is like then mid-game spoilers. And all of that is in the first 20 hours.
Yeah,
so.
And it was such a huge surprise to us when we were playing it that we loved it. Yeah. So we didn't want to spoil it for anyone else. So that's the one reason we cut that one out. But there are a lot of sad animal stories.
It's quite true, because so I've just recently been playing The Witcher 3 again, and most of the side quests are like that, but with the people. Like you saved a man who's from getting lynched, and then it turns out he's a prick, or you hand in the arsonist to the blacksmith, who then gives him the death penalty or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird one with animals, and I don't know what's wrong with me, but I have zero empathy towards video game animals at all. I happily enjoy hunting simulated games. In fact, I quite enjoyed them. Now, I know that you guys are different, Liam especially.
Yes,
but
I'm the stark opposite.
Yeah, because honestly, to me, it's literally like preserve human life, kill animals, isn't it?
Yeah,
I remember Metroid, kill animals.
I remember the first time it emerged that you were into hunting simulating games.
I felt like it was a difficult conversation. I felt like I was coming out or something.
Yeah, you were in a sense. I mean, because I was like, who is this monster? Like, I didn't know.
I know, and that's another thing. It was like, because I know like. Even though I've never gone hunting in real life, I don't really agree with it morally, and I can tell you now, I kind of know if I'd be into something or not, right? I've got a good sense of myself, and I don't think at all I would enjoy it. However, on the sort of it's almost like a walking simulator with a little prize at the end of shooting an innocent cyber deer. Something nice about it, and I can't describe what it is. I don't know why. But yeah, having that conversation with you guys, it was a pretty one-sided conversation. And then, I thought, maybe I am a bastard. And then I thought about it, and I've decided, yeah, I am. And whenever animals are in game, I was like, who's this mutt? I never pat the dog. Give me
No. I distinctly remember we were all sad about the bear. In Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yes.
We were sad about the aforementioned bear from Liv Edwards here. We were sad about that. And I'll remind you, it was a little bear cub looking for his mum who is dead, and the little guy is unable to look after himself, which means he will probably die.
I think we found the mum's corpse first, and then we were like, okay. And then you find this, and so have you seen my mum? And you can say, yeah, she's just down the road, mate, or listen, don't go over there. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's quite true. So what this reminded me of is how, because I don't even think twice about this. I think, whatever, get on with it. This person's actually thought about it enough to catalogue the fucking events as they happen. Yeah. These are all in chronological order as well, so he's obviously got another one, Exhibit A, Exhibit B. And then, they're quite unhappy with this game. So it's like, and Liam, I know that you've had a similar experience with Wolfenstein 2. Yeah. That's what I wanted to know, is is this a make or break for games? Is this something that people should be a bit more considerate of, or no?
So what happened in Wolfenstein 2, Liam?
Yeah.
Tell us
this is not really spoiled, but if you play Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus, there's a scene at the beginning with a bit of a flashback to the main character's childhood, and his dad is a massive prick, and tries to force him to put down his own dog with a shotgun. But in the game at that point, the game won't advance unless you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And I just refused to do it for half an hour. I genuinely considered like quitting the game, just not playing it again.
Yeah.
Because it does affect. I mean, really do care.
It's
about
supposed
animals.
to be a traumatic childhood memory that he has a look at.
But like, yeah, I just didn't want to because you've got that player agency, have you? I don't want to be responsible for that. Because I do really care about animals.
Yeah.
I think. Do you know what I think it is? Yeah, the reason I think like that, is because I feel like it's cheap. Like so I watch horror films all the time, and in horror films they always kill the dog. It's always like the spirit or the ghost or whatever. The dog barks, the dog notices the spirit first, and then like it's normally day one of this like haunting shit will go on. The dog's dead, or the dog goes missing, and then it turns up like arrowed to a tree or something.
Best dog in a horror film, thing.
Okay, well, no mere dog. But yeah, so I watched that this week. We'll talk about that in the Off Topic podcast. But this, so this thing of whenever they pull the heartstrings by doing animals, I just think, a bit cheap. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's a bit of a cop out.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit I Am Legend or whatever, with Will Smith and the Alsatian sort of thing, and then he's got to put the dog down because the dog's infected. It's like
exactly.
I know what you mean, and it's a bit like if they just chucked the dog in The Last of Us Part 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
I would be the same sort of way. I'd be like
exactly.
Yeah.
So like it's a thing in it. Like all walking simulators have got dead kids in it. It's like it's a bit of a cop out. Like
or dead parents, and you are the kid.
Yes, I mean most walking simulators have that in as well. Yeah. Everyone's dead in a walking simulator. That's why it's just you walking around.
Yeah, you're dead as well. You're a ghost.
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
But I tell you, one game that I felt really sympathetic with the animals was Red Dead Redemption 2. Every fucking time I crashed my horse, I've never felt such guilt.
I completely did not do any hunting in that game apart from the mandatory mission where it makes you.
It's a bit heavy duty, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's also boring as shit. That's the hunting in Red Dead Redemption 2 is like fuck.
Even like the dogs in Call of Duty that try and rip your throat out.
Yeah,
I don't like going through them.
Yeah, they always do the little.
Well, right?
Yeah, and I've got an Alsatian.
That's what I mean. So yeah.
They always do the little whimper, don't they? When you're like fucking.
It's horrible.
Yeah. But it is true. Like you do end up feeling more guilt when you kill the dog than you do
even
killing
zombie
humans.
dogs in Resident Evil. I try and run past them.
You know what makes me laugh my head off? I just said then I'm replaying The Witcher 3. Like Geralt has that like the default voice animations of the default voice lines when he's fighting.
Yeah.
He like shit talks people. He does it to the dogs. So like you're fighting these wild dogs, and he's like, "What now, you piece of filth?" and then another thing, it's like it seems so inappropriate. I killed one of the leaders of the wolves, and then he goes, "What's the matter? Lost your nerve?" And I'm like, "They're fucking dogs, Geralt. Chill out."
I get that though.
So
He's an animalistic man, isn't he? He's
what now? Lost your nerve? They're just trying to have a chomp, and you're going in with a sword, going, "You fucking fatties." It's so inappropriate.
I agree with Geralt, to be honest. Maybe they have lost him.
He's the white wolf, though. Why is he killing wolves?
Yeah, exactly. Team of them.
Yeah.
Team of them.
Exactly. He should be able to like command
plot holes all over the place, man.
Shit talking a dog.
All right. So that's a great email there. That's a big topic as well, I think, because I think a lot of people do feel something like they'll have an opinion on that. So it'd be interesting to see what people say.
So one little thing I noticed about that, which is quite funny, it was a small news story, but if you've not seen it already, it's quite funny. There's a Twitter account dedicated to cyber dogs.
Yeah.
And it's like, can you pet the dog? And it's a list of video games. If you can pet the dog or if you can't pet the dog.
Simple yes or no premise, and then it's a yes or no answer with a gif of either petting the dog or not petting the dog.
Exactly. So in Enter the Gungeon, it was you can't pet the dog, but the developer saw it and said we'll fix that, and he's patched in it. You can pet the dog now. So that's nice. So maybe, I don't know, keep voicing your opinions, and maybe the Divinity writers will write a nice story and into the next Divinity.
They do seem very nice. So let's do another email then. This one also animal related. And also a Sekiro spoiler for a sort of mid-game boss. So if you're not absolutely confident that you're well beyond halfway through Sekiro, or you haven't played Sekiro at all,
it's a fourth boss out of 9, so it's basically halfway through.
Although I found that difficult to count because there's so many mini bosses in it.
Yeah,
that you're like, well, does this count? So
yeah.
So this is, unless you're well beyond halfway of Sekiro or you finished it or whatever, spoilers ahead for Sekiro, sort of boss spoilers, okay?
And we've got timestamps in the description.
Yeah.
So, and if you're listening on Podbean, and I think in the description on Spotify as well, If you're really, 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 really that bothered about this quite minor Sekiro spoiler, to be honest, then you can skip ahead. All right, see you in a minute, mate. Bye bye.
It is a big surprise. So if you're thinking, I'll just leave it, but if you're planning on playing Sekiro, I would skip this because it's quite a big surprise. Okay, so skip ahead. Spoilers for Sekiro for maybe the next
5 minutes.
5 minutes. We're on 47 minutes on this recording here. Starting now. Right, okay. Dear Special Moves. As we all know, you guys are huge fans of Sekiro, as am I. Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Tenchu, pretty much a game wet dream for me. So picture the scene. Me, my brother, and a few of our mates, all in the front room.
Nice.
We put in here, brackets, common way of saying living room.
The commonest way,
Now, these boys have all finished by now, but I was taking it slow, proper enjoying this game, despite some of the bosses absolutely wiping their arse with me. That's an interesting phrase. Now, here comes the next challenge. Big Guardian Ape. So, spoilers for the Guardian Ape boss fight about to happen, okay? I'm smashing him. Lads are egging me on. Hey, you smashed him, lad. Good job. A lot of laddish banter in this game of Sekiro here.
Yeah. I love this screenplay.
My brother fist bumps me, saying, "Yeah, bro!" I turn away. All of a sudden, the beast gets back up, headless, with a frigging sword that I just chopped his head off with. The room fills with laughter. The boys are crying with laughter as I scramble my composure, trying to learn his new attack patterns as the boys scream, "Look out, get away," and so on. Killed him after my second try. Humble brag. But it has been a long while since a boss tricked me like that, and the laughter and fear it brought was a perfect gaming moment. Hell, the entire game is a perfect gaming moment all the way through. Much love, boys. Ryan from Lincoln.
Right.
So we haven't got that long to talk about this, actually, because we're about 5 minutes.
I've got a message here. I've actually got the exact moment, right? What's so funny is Guardian Ape, the first stage gave me a bit of...
Oh, is this one of my
No, it's...
Oh, right,
so
okay.
you hadn't...
I had a meltdown with Guardian Ape.
I played Guardian Ape, and got him done. All right, so I beat him, took a picture of the Guardian Ape's dead body, sent it to Liam, paused the game, and I said, the most Bloodborne fight yet, because you have to dodge him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, stay close to the fuck and deflect his fat rocks. Then, a minute later, wait, ... Oh my god, have you done this, boss? And then Liam's like, yeah, surprise, isn't it? Because I paused the game, I made a cup of tea and was texting Liam, unpause it, so he gets back up and I was like, oh, Liam, have you seen this boss, by the way?
Yep.
It is. That's the first time I was proper, like, you know, the old Shadows Die Twice thing. I was like, oh, I see what's happening here.
It wasn't much of a surprise to me because I play so many JRPGs, and they do that like every other boss in a JRPG.
Yeah.
But it's written on the fucking box in this game, and it's also like every time you kill a monster, you get monster slain, whatever, beast hunted or whatever it is. But nothing comes up, and I was like,
no, it does. It says Shinobi Execution. That's what tripped me because I got it in black and white.
I was waiting until the trophy
Shinobi
popped.
Execution.
Right.
When the trophy didn't pop, I was like, something's up here. And then, he got back up.
Didn't think twice.
I must have looked away or something, right?
Yeah.
Because I was just stood there in front of this carcass, and I was like, something smells bad.
As soon as no trophy popped up, I was like, something's off.
Yeah. And then he fucking gets up and he leathered me. That second phase, I was like, I hated it. I hated that boss. So flaily and so, and it was, and all the monster bosses, any boss that is like bigger than you by quite some way, I've not enjoyed.
He's got it's a copy and pasted moveset from the Dancer from Dark Souls 3. Like this flaily drunken master style 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like nearly identical, so it's like a very similar moveset. It's interesting though because obviously so the first time you see him, he's got a sword into his neck, and then when you defeat him, you're pulling it through, cut the head off, and then he picks the fucking sword up. And I mean,
I guess we can't talk about the end bosses and stuff here because we don't know where he's up to. But
beat that ape and then rest easy in it.
I hated that ape, and I'm pretty sure that was one of like 2 bosses in the game. I think that I was like texting you guys loads about because I was like, I was fucking fuming.
Gave me a run for my money.
If you've watched one of our, I think we meant. Oh no, maybe it was in the off-topic podcast. You mentioned that you put Autobot Rage Against the Machine on to beat him.
Yeah, it was probably like if we do any kind of like favorite gaming moments of the year video at the end, that's going to be in there because what I had to do to beat him, to reiterate, because it might have been in the bonus podcast, was put Rage Against the Machine Machines Renegade to Funcon. Listen to a honestly, it was such an amazing fit when I was walking towards a giant ape, right? Wanting to kill him. It was like the fucking ape, it was the most perfect creative moment I've ever been a part of. So it was I'm gonna have to go through that again. But Guardian Ape, I'll definitely, one of the bosses I'll definitely remember from Sekiro for good and bad reasons, I think, because the good mainly being Rage Against the Machine related. So spoilers over. Spoilers ended. Should we do one more topic before we do new releases? Should we do this weed thing?
We can talk about it briefly, I guess. I don't know. It's like there's not that much to it, but it's interesting enough to bring up, right?
Yeah.
Just educating the boys in it in case they don't know.
Yeah.
So,
let me just Google weed thing.
Okay, so it's Weedcraft Inc., right? I played it and I don't really recommend it. I didn't have a very nice time with it at all. And
so this is a game?
Promptly been uninstalled off my computer, yeah. So it's a tycoon game where you're a guy who comes back from college or whatever, and your brother coaxes you into making a legal, and that was a legal, not illegal, a legal,
unlegal.
Yes, very very legal. Tycoon industry based on marijuana. So it's called Weedcraft Inc., mate. What you expect?
Yeah.
So it's basically a tycoon thing. You start off just with a couple of grow rooms, and then you make your fucking empire, and then you're getting pushes on the corners on it or whatever. Fucking thing is, people. It's got quite good reviews, GameSpot covered it, and big publications, IGN have covered it, Rock Paper Shotgun, loads of people have talked about it. It's about weed, doing it. So in America, that's legal. In Canada now, I think quite recently, that's legal. Here in the UK, weed is very much illegal. Same with loads of countries, basically. I kind of lose track of where. Definitely in Europe, it's illegal, isn't it? Amsterdam's weird because everyone goes to smoke it, but I think it's illegal in there too, to some extent for tourists. The point is, because of that, it's getting demonetized all over YouTube and Facebook, and it's kind of creating a sort of weird conversation because, it's I don't know, you can shoot people's heads off in a game, but they're talking about that, and I just thought it's quite interesting that, I don't know, maybe it's an American issue because it's legal in America, so you think,
I do from the creators of the game's point of view. It does seem a bit mad that when you think about what does get banned and what doesn't get banned on social media and stuff. Like what is described as abuse and what isn't described as abuse, for example. Whereas I get so there's the fact that this is illegal is the thing, but then you sort of
Plague
wonder.
Inc. When you make a genocidal,
exactly, yeah.
Literal goal of the game is to exterminate mankind.
So biological warfare,
yes,
that's all right, but you can't, So it is a strange one, and I also sort of think if they hadn't called it Weedcraft Inc., then it wasn't. If they just had come up with some fucking Saints Row style made up name for the drug,
surely they could have thought of a better drug based name than Weedcraft Inc. It doesn't sound good, does it? Weedcraft.
It doesn't immediately
sounds like some sort of edgy Minecraft mod.
Yeah.
Inc. What's the point? Come on, bro. Incorporated. Yeah, but I don't know, man.
Imagine if it was Weedcraft and Sons.
Why not just Weed Corp? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Weed Corp sounds like a discount lawn sort of killer.
It does, yeah. I'm sure it probably exists. That's why they didn't. That's why they couldn't do it, mate.
So I
put a bit of Weed Corp on the driveway, innit?
I kind of wanted to bring it up because it's kind of been popping off on the social media, and like I say, Kotaku, Rock Paper Shotgun, GameSpot have all covered it. I've played it, didn't like it, but it's quite cheap as well. So if you guys played it, just let me know what you thought of it, because I don't know, is it worth giving another chance? I thought I'd ask someone who's played it and into it, and there's a higher chance that someone's played it out here.
Yeah, probably.
It's just a bit shit. It's dull.
If it was like a class fucking really good game, then maybe it'd be more of a...
Yeah, exactly. I mean...
But I guess that's not the point, but it is, to me, it is weird, what does get censored and what doesn't, sort of thing.
I think it's something as simple as, it's not black and white what abuse is and what abuse isn't these days, but... What is black and white is what is drug use and what isn't drug use. And it's as simple as, is there drugs in this, yes or no? And are drugs legal, yes or no? There's not it's heroin is illegal or it's legal. It's one or the other, right? So weed is legal in some countries and in others it's illegal. There's no in between. So I guess because the terms of service of YouTube and Facebook is you can't monetize drug use or the promotion of drug use, then I guess But even then, like, I don't know, are all Snoop Dogg songs about smoke weed every day?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah,
This is
a weird one for me. But
yeah.
Anyway,
Certainly interesting, huh?
let's do new releases. Final Fantasy X and X-2 is coming out for the extortionate price of £45 on Nintendo Switch on
Xbox.
And Xbox, yeah, it's coming to Xbox One, but I don't know how much it costs on that. So
Probably
probably
not
£45. It's £20. Yeah, if you take it with Nintendo tax, probably is good. It's £20 on like PlayStation and Steam, I think, and whatever.
Yeah, I think I got it like 2 years ago for £20.
Not to mention it came out on the PS3 originally. This HD remaster.
Yeah, so this isn't even a current gen remaster in a sense. It's sort of a
it's
port.
It's a remaster that's been spruced up a bit more for new consoles.
Yeah. So this hasn't been made specifically for. This has sort of just been adapted further from one that exists.
It's an existing collection that's been ported.
It's
and
the same
fucking
price.
£45.
Same price on Xbox.
Christ Almighty, £45 is far too much to pay for.
Final Fantasy X is a masterpiece of a game.
Yeah.
It's not £45
No, but that's on April the 16th if you have a lot of money lying around. And My Time at Porsche, which is coming to Switch, PS4 and Xbox One. Oh no, is it already on something?
It's on PC.
PC, right, yeah. So it's coming out on Switch, PS4 and Xbox One.
It's been on early access,
Yeah,
it came out of early access sometime last year.
Sort of a sandbox game, one of these games that's like, since Stardew Valley, it's all the fucking rage, isn't it? It's like, oh, you could
I'm
get crops for your granddad.
More than these Harvest Moon type
Me
games.
too. No, it is nice.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of them now. And World War Z, which is I don't know anything about, to be honest.
I think it's a Left 4 Dead style co-op shooter, but obviously like with the big hordes instead of
made famous from the World War Z film, which I guess is
film,
based on a book.
Which is based on the book, which is a good book, by the way.
Yeah, all right. Well, it's written in a really weird way. Like it's all
it's like interviews, yeah.
Yeah. So, but the film is very linear.
It also features Bumaris Castle, which is very close with.
And doesn't it have? Is it Swansea? The World Health.
Oh yeah.
So
that was in the film, I think, wasn't it?
That was in the film. They go to South Wales.
They go to South Wales.
I can't remember if that's in the book, but in the book they go to Bumaris Castle because it's the perfect.
There's medieval weaponry. And stuff.
No. It's because genuinely right. It's because the castle is completely surrounded by a fence.
Yeah.
The castle, like a tall iron fence in real life, right? Yeah. This castle's very close to where we live, by the way. So there's a tall iron fence, and then the castle itself has got 3 walls. Sets of walls, so it's like a nice cake.
Yeah,
the last bastion of humanity.
Castle.
So you've got 4 chances basically to hold back the zombies. So that's why it's in
the They Are Billions campaign.
It is.
I remember there's something in the book as well about the UK did all right against zombie hordes because they had loads of medieval weaponry.
Yeah,
and so they didn't have guns that jammed and stuff like that. Yeah.
And I guess we're an island, so that kind of helps, right? So that. But the film, I guess, is quite famous for that 1 or 2 scenes that involve the big holes where the zombies are climbing over themselves,
getting over, breaching the wall.
Almost
where is it, Jerusalem or something?
Yeah,
I think it is Jerusalem.
It is.
So that's coming out.
I've not heard much about this.
No, nothing. I've not heard anything.
I remember the trailer they showed at E3.
Yeah,
and that was it. That's all I ever remember about
it. We've also got Anno 1800, which is coming to PC. It's a city building real-time strategy game. I've played Anno is one of the. I've played a lot of strategy games, like management ones and stuff. And this is one of the series that I've sort of, considering how long running it is and stuff, it's probably the least attention I've paid to a series. I've played a bit of it, but
it's got its fans. I know. Pretty cult.
It confuses me, the Anno series, because they have 20, 50, 84
and
stuff up, and now 1800.
They just they're not, obviously they're just random years that they like.
They're just picking a time period.
But because they're very specific years and it's not in chronological order, they're just going, let's do 1349 this year. Well, not 1349.
That's Victorian England.
Yeah, that's the year the Great Plague hit.
It isn't an amazing naming convention because it is slightly. If you look back, if you were new to the series, it'd be quite difficult to know.
Can anyone know what year is the first Anno?
Yeah. Having said that, I have just said a game called Final Fantasy X-2 is coming out, so fucking, do you know what I mean? Also we've got Cuphead on the 18th of April, so that's the Thursday, Friday.
Yes.
Thursday. So Cuphead is a really easy game, really sort of simple, nice animation style. It's all about the art, really. It's not
the gameplay. If you've got high blood pressure, buy this game. Buy it, you'll have a lovely time.
It's ideal if you tried Sekiro or something like that, and you just thought, I don't like hard games.
It's too easy.
Yeah.
It's too easy. I hate difficulty in games. Get Cuphead, mate.
Also Katana Zero, which we played at Res.
Yes, I'm looking forward to
I've
this.
looked more into this since, because I didn't get to play it. You guys did. It looks cool, doesn't it?
It looks really cool. When I got a chance to play it, I was interested in it anyway, from I saw it at the Nintendo Direct, like not that long ago, their Nindy thing.
Yeah.
But then when I actually got to play it, I was like, yes, I'm sold on this.
Yeah, it's sort of a puzzles-like approach I felt when I played it to getting through a level.
Yeah.
You've got to do stuff in specific
I
order.
think everything dies in like one hit, right?
Yeah. So, but then if you die and you think, oh shit, I've got to go back to the beginning, but you've done everything. You know exactly how to get where you were now, so it doesn't take as long.
And it's got like a little rewind mechanic that shows you like the path you took and everything.
Yeah. So that's an interesting game. I'd like to see how that reviews. That's coming on the 18th. So that's two pretty strong 2D sort of side-scrolling games that are coming out the same day there on the Switch. So if you're into that sort of thing, I think there's probably a lot of cross between both sort of audiences. If you like one, good chance you like the other. I reckon.
Suffering is the key word there.
Nah, not with Cuphead. So that was the 33rd.
Yes, it was.
Special Moves podcast. Remember, we have got a bonus podcast coming to all patrons. It might already be out. It might be now.
It might be out today.
But
it might be out tomorrow.
you've got to go check your inbox or check out our Patreon page. That's the only way you can get to see that, because it's going to be a top secret video for
it's
only
unlisted.
patrons.
But also, if you want to check that out and you've not checked out our other two, maybe you'd like a new patron. There's two more, so you can go and check them out. And they're a bit more loose, where we talk about different things like films. To be honest, it's about mostly Netflix. To be honest.
Yeah, it's off-topic stuff, so it's not gaming stuff. So if you're,
we happen to spend most of our time just watching telly as well. So.
It's not. There's no structure or anything. It's just us having a chat basically. Mm-hmm. But check that out. There's 2 bonus podcasts that are already there, and there could be a third one the day that this podcast has gone live as well. So check that out if you're a patron of any tier, no matter how much you pledge. Everyone gets.
And now here's something weird. If people are listening like out of sync, if you're not watching this like on the day it's recorded, right, and you're like watching all of our podcasts like back to back, we're now going to record podcast 34 straight away, because Mike's in a foreign country next week and I'm in London. So if you're listening back to back, it's going to feel exactly the same. See you in a minute. If not, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.